Hello, hi everybody. Welcome back to the THE Students webinars. Today we are joined by the Academy of Art University, founded in San Francisco. We are heading all the way over to San Francisco today to tell us more about art and design and how your career really can be boosted through their courses. Now we do always welcome questions. Please do ask us the questions. We will get to those at the very end of our webinar in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen there, and then we will answer those at the end. So I'm going to hand you over to your host, Sue.
Hi, everybody. So great that you decided to check us out. I'm pleased that you want to know if we're a good fit for you as you look at colleges and universities all over the world. My name is Sue Raleigh, as Stravula said, and I am the Executive Vice President at the Academy of Art University. And I have my associate, Tricia, who is going to be helping me with the slides today. So she's going to make sure that it all works properly. We want to give you an overview of the school, and then, as Stravula said, we will be available to answer all your questions. So let's get started. Tricia, you want to go to the first slide? San Francisco, California, you've probably all heard of it. The Golden Gate Bridge, it really does exist. That's it. We have fog, we have hills. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. Next slide. We have cable cars. That's one of them right there. We have a lot of hills. So when you come to San Francisco, you want to make sure you wear good shoes for walking. It is definitely a city that you walk in, but also it's a city that embraces art and design. It's a great place to study. Next slide. The Academy is located right in the middle of all of these amazing art and design technology businesses. So while you are studying at the school, you will actually be working with professors. Your teachers will be people who work at these various art and design studios. What does that mean for you? That means that you can get internships and possibly jobs. It's almost like every class is a job interview. Next slide. We also have accreditation, in case you're wondering about that. We're accredited by regional, national, and specialized accreditors. And I want to especially point out NASAD. NASAD is our National Association of Schools of Art and Design that covers our online and on-campus degree programs. And if you're looking at art and design schools in the United States, NASAD is one of those accreditations you want to look for. Next slide. We have a lot of different degrees. When you come to the Academy, it's almost like you are at a cafeteria where you can just pick and choose from all these different majors. We have acting, advertising, we have motion pictures, we have music production, we have illustration. We're going to talk more about that later, but you can really tailor make your degree to meet your interests and hopefully your goals in terms of working. Next slide. We also have STEM, and STEM is very important. That means science, technology, engineering, and math. And you may say, well, Sue, I'm not interested in any of those. Well, that may be true, but we call it STEAM. We also include art in that because so many of our classes involve the computer. And what does that mean for you is you can stay in the US for 3 years after you've graduated, and instead of the 1 year of optional practical training that you may have heard about. Next slide. So these are some of our more popular majors we're going to go through right now. Architecture. How do you know if you are interested in architecture? Well, we have the B.Arch and the M.Arch. That's the master's degree. And if you want to design buildings and plan communities, this is the major for you. You're going to be doing models just like this. People will come to you with a problem and you're going to come up with a solution. The next slide. Fashion. Our fashion design program not only designs the clothes, we design the textiles. And as you can see, they can be very, very different. We have all kinds of equipment if you're on campus where you can make the textile really speak your particular philosophy, your particular aesthetic. Next slide. Jewelry and metal arts. So a lot of times schools combine jewelry and metal arts with fashion, but we do it separately because we found out that a lot of our students not only want to make jewelry, but they might want to make like gates for a villa or something bigger and bolder. So we will allow you to take metal arts as a standalone major. Next slide. Photo. We all have cameras. I'm sure you have one. You probably take pictures with it all the time. What we do in photo is we marry art of photography with the technology. In this case, we're looking at sugar. You can see that somebody's gone to great lengths so that you see sugar possibly in a way you never imagined it before. That's what we do in photography. Next slide. Advertising is very fast-paced. You want to produce a product, you want to put it out to the public in a new way. It's fast-moving, it's always changing. In this case, the woman who did this was very concerned about the plastics in the ocean, and she did the tip of the iceberg above the water, and then below it's all plastic, and I feel like we'll all remember that. Next slide. So, you like games? Do you want to create the game that you want to play? That's what you're going to do in game development. You're going to come up with a game. You're going to create the aesthetic, the characters. We even have game programming. So if you're not so much into the art side of it, but you want to be behind the scenes, we can help you with that as well. Next slide. Animators work in many different realms to create those films and cartoons that we all enjoy. Visual development is part of animation, and that's where you create the characters out of your imagination, how they would walk, talk, dress, all of that. You're really making those characters real. Next slide. You also create environments. For example, here you can see on the left that there's a very kind of eerie, scary environment. And then we've got two other characters on the right, very different personalities. And you can see one is very bold and outgoing. The other looks like she is scared and sad. Anyway, that's the kind of thing you do in visual development. However, there's another part of animation. Next slide. Animation and visual effects is where Pixar comes in or Disney comes in when you do full length stories. So what you do is you create the story and then you get on the computer, and teams of people are working on creating these images on the computers, but you still have to learn to draw. Next slide. In this case, this is a picture of what a storyboard would look like. So I come to you, you're my boss. I say, I have this great idea, and this is what it would look like. And I've already sketched out the images. So you get a sense of what I'm talking about. So yes, you're going to be on the computer a lot. It definitely is one of those STEM courses and subjects, but you still have to learn to draw. Next slide. Industrial design is really working on products that make the world a better place for people. Whether you're working on a bus, or you're going to create a better train, or maybe it's a tennis shoe, whatever it might be, is to enhance human beings' experience in the world. And part of this, these are all products, is cars. Next slide. So maybe you've always wanted to design your own car. You got a great idea about what that would look like. That's what we do in industrial design as well. Tom Matano, who is the director of industrial design, was actually the lead designer and developed two-seater Miata, which is an iconic image. And actually Tom, who works at the Academy, is considered one of the top designers in the world. So if Tom recommends you to a car company, I can guarantee you're going to get hired. Next slide. Graphic design. Wow. Boy, if you're into details, graphic design is the message for you, is the major for you. It's the art of selecting elements, visual elements, putting them into a small space like these labels. You're choosing the type, you're choosing the color. Basically, the idea is you're grabbing people's attention when they walk into the store. So, for example, I walk in, I'm looking for jelly, and I see this label, and I think, gosh, that blueberry jam looks great. I'm going to buy it. That's what a graphic designer does. So you may think, well, logo, that's such a teeny little thing. It takes a lot of time to make a logo work, and it's there forever. So if, like I said, if you're into detail, graphic design is the major for you. Next slide. Illustrators. Illustrators are design problem solvers as well. Somebody comes to you with a script and you illustrate it. You make the script come alive. In this case, this is a children's book. You're going to use pens, pencils, paints, whatever it takes to get the image across, as well as the computer. Next slide. But you don't just do children's books, you also do comic books. And how much fun is that? That's really fun. So somebody comes to you, they got a great, this one, The Joker's Last Laugh. Somebody's had a great time making the characters for that comic book. Next slide. Fine art illustrators, we all know what that is. We go to the museum, we look at this beautiful work. These are real paintings, students did them. The idea is that you have your own, you work for yourself, you do paint, draw what speaks for you, and usually most fine artists end up having a following that's just waiting for their next piece. So you work alone. Again, you are working for yourself, and you put it, you're exhibiting in galleries or online. Next slide. Maybe you want to do sculpture. We also offer that. These are highly stylized sculptures. As you can see, they don't look like what you may have seen in the past. You may have seen dramatic sculptures like the David in Florence, but you can do that kind of work if you so choose, or you can do these more interesting kind of, well, I wouldn't say they're more interesting, but they're definitely images we haven't seen before. That's what we do in sculpture. Next slide. Interior architecture and designers are people who are trying to create places for people, sort of like the industrial design, only now we're talking about spaces. In this case, you can see they've created a rooftop restaurant. And they can also create hotels, or maybe they create hospitals, whatever interiors where people are going to be, they're looking at ways to make it more inviting. Next slide. I especially like this slide because it's a staircase, right? It's taking people from one level to the next. However, the person's decided to actually have it enhance the look of the room by the wooden stairs, the lighting, the banisters that are wood, the gallery of images as you walk up the steps. This is the kind of thing that interior architectures and designers do. They make the space really inviting and beautiful. Next slide. So at the end of the year, which is coming right up actually at the Academy of Art, we have what's called a spring show. All the best work at the school is showcased, and top industry representatives in all these areas I've mentioned and more come to look at the student work. Many times they hire students right on the spot. A lot of what happens at the Academy is about building your skills, about building your portfolio, and helping you network with people in the industry so that you can get a job when you get out. Next slide. We're ranked all over the world. People are always asking me, how are you ranked? Well, it depends on who you're talking to, but we engage in contests with other schools globally, and you can see we do pretty well. world-class rankings. Next slide. These are some of our partnerships. These people come to the school and actually work with students while they're in class, looking for fresh ideas, looking for the newest talent so that they can hire you later on. Next slide. And these are, again, some of the companies that hire our students. Pixar, it's almost 15% of Pixar comes from the Academy, and they actually come and teach classes there so that they can see the students and get to know them before they graduate. Next slide. We have this recipe for success. We have an award-winning faculty. That first picture is Tom Matano. I mentioned he's industrial design, and he's the one that designed, lead designer for the two-seater Miata. But we've got another person down there in the second row, Jana Memel, who not only has one Oscar Academy Award, she has 3, and she's teaching at the Academy. All of these people that you see here have made their name in the area that you want to work in. So if they recommend you, that means not only will you have their expertise, but they will have their network of professionals to lean on. Next slide. We also have help for you. I know that a lot of you are not native English speakers, so we offer personalized instruction from you from the very first day. You can have support throughout the time you're at the school, and there'll even be people in your classes that will help you if you need extra support. Next slide. We have student clubs. These are great for you to share your passion. Also, it's a wonderful way to meet the people you may be working with in the future. And they're going to push you to explore your creative ideas, and they're going to ask you to be vulnerable and put it out there for everybody to see. Next slide. We have housing. I recommend if you're coming to San Francisco, you live in our housing. We have private and shared rooms, and we have a shuttle bus. You can see that picture down there that has a bus coming to pick people up. So you don't have to worry about how I'm going to get to class. You can go back and forth as much as you want. It's all part of your tuition. Next slide. So how much does all this cost? Well, all schools will have a fee, a cost. For full-time international students, this fall, they're paying around $35,000. That's 2 semesters. That's not just 1 semester. That's 2 semesters. That includes your application fees, your activity fees, your health insurance, estimated course and material fees. Graduates pay just a little bit more, about $1,000 more a year. Again, that's for 2 semesters and includes all your fees. The only thing this doesn't include is your food and housing. Next slide. So now I'm going to show you a quick video. It's kind of the majors that we talked about. This is all student work, so sit back and enjoy the show. So is it worth it? That's the question. Tricia, you can go to the next slide, please. We want you to come to the Academy. We want you to find your artistic home. We have a recipe for success. The school has been around for over 90 years. We believe you can defy the ordinary and your creations will be extraordinary. So this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity for you to get not only get a degree, but to create a network with unbelievable professionals. I feel so fortunate that I've been allowed and had the opportunity to meet so many of these distinguished artists and designers. But you don't have to just take my word for it. I want to show you one more video. This is a group of international students. We asked them, how's it been for you at the Academy? And this isn't scripted, so here you go.
I was looking for the best photography programs that I could find, and this popped up, and I loved how many facilities this campus had.
Well, early on, I was able to work on actual project that normally you would not be able to work on until you finish school and you start working in the studio.
I worked in an ad agency back home for 3 years. I was like, hey, I want an opportunity in America, and San Francisco is the creative hub, right? So I wanted to come here.
It's a great opportunity for people with or without background to come here and be in the environment and learn from professionals.
You don't have to be perfect at it. You don't have to know anything about it, but you can learn it from it.
I'm doing Masters in UI UX design. Previously, I did my Bachelor's in Interior Designing, and I had no experience for UI UX. This is like a new thing for me. I'm having daily new experiences, and I can say all the experiences are positive.
The facilities and the professors at Academy of Art are some of the best I've had. You're working with people who have won Oscars, people who have worked years in the industry and know it in and out, and they're there to support you to get into whichever field you want.
All the teacher I had, I really enjoy them. I received a really useful advice.
We love presenting our work that we worked so hard for the past 14 weeks. Every team member pulled through, and then we've created this cohesive, holistic approach. It's also a great opportunity to see how like real work environment works, especially with different environments, different designers coming in from different departments.
It's an amazing way to get experience before you go to the world.
The Academy of Art's like a really good opportunity to meet new people and to create films and to go after your dreams living in a really cool city.
Everyone cares about us as students, and they are opening a lot of opportunities for us.
The Academy allows us to express our potential as artists, and they bring that out of us.
I love people here. I love that it's international place where you can find people from China, from America, from other countries, and you can have this mix of ideas.
My love for advertising is increasing since I've got here, and just the people I meet, different minds from different cultures, and you realize that you're a tiny part of the world, you know, and that's exciting.
I am one of those person that looking for different things. Whenever I'm searching about the new things to try, I find out that, oh my God, we do have that tool in the school, so it's really cool.
If you look for the professional ideas in the design area, definitely it's a better place to go.
It's one of the best art universities here in America.
Typography, advertising, UX design, I will recommend any design students.
I would recommend the Academy to innovate, especially in my career fields. I don't think there's any other school out there in the world that really offer what Academy offer.
So that is truly, I mean, like I said, these weren't scripted. We just said, tell us what
I was looking for the best photography program.
We're having a little technical difficulty, so I apologize. But we really just wanted to know how has it been for you? And again, I hope you see the value of this recipe for success that we've been working with for years. And I hope that you will decide that you're going to take the next step, which is to check us out. We have a whole team of international admissions people who work just with international students. They can help you figure out the best way to go. Maybe you aren't ready to move to San Francisco, but you'd still like to start to take some of the classes and see how that works. Our online classes are unbelievable. You'll be so impressed. We've built them all ourselves. We started working on it in over 20 years ago. We've got it down. They are really good. And I think if you take a couple classes, even from wherever you live, you're going to see that it's worth it. And maybe you're going to decide to come to San Francisco. I hope so. But the next step is for you to contact our admissions team, International Admissions. You can call that phone number, 415-274-2208. Our country code is 1. And you can leave a message and someone will call you back, or you can just go on that link, go to academyart.edu, apply, and you're going to see a lot of information. But don't just try to do it by yourself. It's too complicated. Let us help you. And that's all I have for this morning. Stravula, do you want to, maybe it's time for some questions.
Hi, thank you. That's great. Thank you so much for your presentation. And apologies, guys, for the technical difficulties today. Feels like a Monday. But let's get these questions on the roll. Okay, so the first question that we have, hello. Thank you for this opportunity. Will we be able to create a portfolio before we come to your school?
You don't have to submit a portfolio. In the United States, a lot of high schools actually don't have art classes. So we know that you may or may not have a portfolio. If you have one, we'd love to see it so we can put you in the right classes so nothing is repetitive for you. So you're not doing stuff that you already know how to do. If you don't have one, that's fine too. We'll look at what you have, whether it's a transcript or maybe you just graduated from high school. That's fine too. We'll go wherever you are and we'll take you from that point to becoming a professional.
Amazing. We actually have quite a relevant question from last night's Met Gala. I'm guessing this is to do with the fashion question. What are your thoughts on the Met Gala last night? Will we be able to create outfits similar?
Well, I'm not a fashion critic, so I can't tell you what my thoughts are. I mean, I think it's always amazing what people are willing to how they put themselves out there and what people find attractive. I mean, we see all these different, here in the United States at least, we see all these big galas and people are always dressed, really. I mean, sometimes it's kind of regular and then other times it's I wouldn't have the courage to wear that. So anyway, I'm not an art critic, but I think it's a lot of fun.
Amazing. And what is the deadline to apply for the next intakes?
The next intake would be summer. If you're thinking about coming in summer, it's getting close. Our classes will start, I think it's the 3rd week of June, but you have a lot of stuff to do if you're coming to San Francisco. If you want to take a class over the summer, they're very fast paced. They're twice as fast as a regular semester. It's a 7.5 week course, but the same content. So if you want to come for fall, you should start working with our international admissions team now so that you can get your visa and all the things that you need to come to the US. But if you want to just take a class online, you can be more leisurely about that. I wouldn't wait though, because you want to be prepared and you want to sign up for the classes that you really want to take. Our classes fill up quickly. The more popular ones go fast. So you don't want to wait. And so again, we have an international admissions team who will be there to support you and help you through the process. I know it can be scary, but we'll make it easy for you.
Thank you. And I think you've answered this already, but do I need to be English proficient?
No, you don't need to be a English speaker. We have students who have really basic understanding of language and those who are more advanced. We'll find out what you need. We will give you support from day one. You'll start your basic art classes while you're learning English, and we will support you while you're in those classes. You don't have to wait to take an art class. So we have a system that's working really, really well. I have some people who I've talked to who graduated and they said they could hardly speak any English when they came to the school. It's amazing how it works. So we'll take care of you. And we know you're not a native speaker.
That's lovely. Okay, we have a few questions here about potential work contacts. How easy is it to mingle and create potential work contacts? Are there any networking opportunities?
Absolutely. And I hope I emphasized that while while I was showing you the slides. We are all about you getting a job when you get out. So we're going to be connecting you with industry professionals from day one. When you go to those clubs, I showed you some pictures of students in clubs. We're going to have industry professionals there who are going to be giving projects to the clubs. We have a whole career development center who will help you even when you haven't graduated yet. We have a special well, it's not a bulletin board, but it's like an online system where companies can request help, and it's just for Academy students. So don't worry about not being able to get a job. You're going to get a job. The question will be, when are you ready? And as an international student, after 1 year of studying, you can start working part-time. We call it CPT. That means it's curricular practical training. So yes, you will be working. There are way more opportunities for our graduates than we have graduates. So don't worry about that. I know all of you have heard about the starving artist myth. I think that's universal. We call it thriving artists. Our artists are thriving. They're not starving. So like I said, we have a recipe for success that's worked, and our students are doing very well.
Great. That brings me on to part-time work. How often can I work alongside my degree with you?
How soon can I work?
How often? I'm guessing they mean part-time work outside of the degree.
Yes, after you have to study for 1 year before you can start to do any part-time work. But once you have that year in, it's up to you. And most of our students actually choose to work after they graduated because they can work full-time and they get better jobs. But it's really up to the individual student.
And how about post-study work for international students, particularly Brazilian students? Do you offer any post-study work visas for Brazilian students, or how does that work?
Work visas? Is that what the question?
Yeah.
Yep. We only have F1 visas, so that's a student visa. But like I said, it does give you the possibility of working while you're in school. When you get out of school, you can work, if you're in one of those STEM majors, you can work for 3 years. And I didn't mention this, but we have a team of continuing international specialists that will help you with all the legalities. So they can tell you what's available, when it's available, and make sure that you stay in status. That's what we call it when you're doing what you're supposed to do with your visa.
Hey, amazing. And now on to affordability. How affordable is the USA for living? Is it expensive, manageable? Do you offer any accommodation advice?
Most of the scholarships we offer are based on merit, and that usually happens in the junior, senior year. We do have some scholarships available. It changes from semester to semester. So again, you want to contact those international admissions specialists who are going to help you figure all that out and tell you what's available. I think San Francisco is not an inexpensive city. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a beautiful city. A lot of people want to be there, but we do have housing. We do have meal plans. So we can give you a reasonable rate rather than you going out on your own trying to figure out how to rent an apartment. Again, the International Admissions Specialist team is going to help you figure all that out. And it may be different for everyone. So they're your go-to people.
Amazing. And lastly, will I be able to take 2 courses at the same time?
Yes. In fact, if you can take 2 courses at the same time, if you're online or on site, and if you're on site, well, we're going to want you to be full. Part of your F1 visa is you need to be full time. So that's 4 courses as undergraduates, 3 courses as graduates. So that's part of your visa. If you're working from home, though, you're working in Brazil, and you want to start out taking some online classes, you can take 1, 2, 3, however many you have time for. The great thing about the online classes, same content, same accreditation, you can take those classes when it's convenient for you. They are not what we call synchronous, they're asynchronous. So for example, Stravula and I are in the same class. She's a morning person, I'm not. She decides she's going to take her classes at 6 a.m. I don't want to take my classes till 9 p.m. That we can do that. And when we have demos that you can watch, and you always have the best seat in the house. Nobody ever gets in your way. You can play them over and over and over. So there are a lot of pluses to the online classes. But if you feel like, well, I really want to come in person, that's up to you. And again, if you do that, you will have to be full-time.
Okay, and I think we have someone asking, will you be sharing a list or link of current programs? I assume yes, that will happen after the webinar goes live.
Yes, and your admissions person will listen to what you have done in the past, what your interests are, and a lot of times we can start you out taking classes in several different majors. If you have one, for example, maybe I don't know if I want to do industrial design or I want to do interior design, or maybe I want to do architecture. I'm really not sure. So we're going to set it up so that you can take a class in each of those areas and figure out which one works best for you. But those classes will count towards your graduation. So you're not wasting time and money.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, Sue. Thank you for the brilliant presentation. Thank you guys for attending and all of your questions. They've been really, really valuable. We will be sending out a lovely, welcome to the Academy of Art University email via your inbox for those who haven't managed to attend live today. And we will be there with you every step of the way. Any questions that you have, please do send them in and we'll forward them on to the wonderful Sue here, who will be able to get back in contact with you very shortly. Sue, any last words before we close out?
Just, I hope you check us out. I hope you take the next step. I hope you become part of this community of artists and designers. It's pretty amazing. We have students from over 51 countries, Stravula. And I always say, for people from all over the world to come together just to work together, talk about art and design, it's an amazing thing. It's something you don't want to miss. And I think you'll feel like you found your home. So hope to meet you, and I hope you come to San Francisco.
Thank you. And thank you guys. We will be in touch very soon. Bye-bye. Have a good evening or day wherever you are.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.